Do you ever feel at war with yourself, at war with your own brain, at war with your own emotions? Well, there might be something to that where you may not feel as crazy once you watch this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 elements and the elemental wars that can happen within all of us. Sit tight. Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to touch on the 5 elements once again, and today we're going to talk about something that I don't think I've really touched on a whole lot, and this is what I want to call elemental wars within all of us. Now, I've done a bunch of other videos on the 5 elements, the 5 element personality types. I'll put links to a bunch of those videos below if you want to check them out, but just to give you a brief summary, I'm talking about the Taoist 5 elements: fire, earth, metal, water, wood. Now, these are the 5 elements. Of course, they're out in nature, but they're also within us, within our psyches, our personality. We have a lot of correspondences to things like our emotions and our organ systems, speaking from, say, a Chinese medicine perspective. But in this video, we're going to go in depth more into kind of the personalities and the psyches of each of these element types and how they relate to us as an individual. I've also done videos on, say, 5 element relationships, 5 element types in relationships and the dynamic in relationships, and maybe who you may resonate with the most or who you may butt heads with the most, you know, personality wise or element type wise. So again, those will all be below. And if you want to check out, I do have an ebook out just for a summary of all the elements, the 5 element quick ebook guide, which I will put a link below. It's all below, people. But today we're going to focus on elemental wars within each of us, okay? Not considering elemental wars with other people, but within us. Of course, there are wars with other people. You'll see this as you get to know each of these element types and how people butt heads or don't get along sometimes, or how more people are compatible than others. And this can all depend on all this kind of stuff, okay, and your personality type. But today let's focus on, first let me focus on the good side of each of these guys, okay, before we get into the war part. Now, if we think of the elements, and each element has a strength to it. I like to call it a superpower. So you may say, oh, well, which element out of these is the strongest? I've heard about fire, I've heard about water, maybe wood, metal, maybe not as much in this system, in the Chinese medicine system, but I'll tell you straight up that no element is stronger than the other because all of the elements work together. Everything has a rhythm. Out in nature, you'll see that we can't have, it's like yin and yang. It's an extension of yin and yang, right? We can't have the sun without the moon, and everything works together. We need the rain, we need the sun, we need the earth, the soil, the fire, the water, for everything to balance in life. And this goes the same for our bodies and within our bodies and organ systems. We need all of the elements to function properly, to have a rhythm in life. But sometimes some of the elements can overpower other ones. And that's where we'll see things like an excess of emotions, or us attaching to something, or the inability to let go. So that's what we're going to get into today. But first, let's focus on each element's superpower so you can get a better idea of what they are about. So let's start with my friend wood. Wood, if there was one superpower to the wood element type, or the wood within you, because we have all 5 within us that come out at different, parts of our lives or depending on the day, I would say wood superpower is the power of leadership. Leadership. They are the ability to lead, to get things done, to have a vision, to grow, to move things along. So that would be the superpower for wood. For fire superpower is the ability to be spontaneous and playful in your life. So when you feel that joy just pop out of nowhere, the laughter that comes up, the bubbly fun side of you, that is your fire coming out, okay? The ability to enjoy life in the moment. Earth. The superhero part of Earth for you would be your nurturing side, your caring side, your ability to be empathetic to people. Basically the caretakers of the world, okay? Your ability to be that peaceful friend or something along those lines, to be grounded. That is the earth in you. Metal, your superpower in metal is self-respect, self-worth, the ability to have self-dignity, this idea of purpose in your life, okay? The ability for you to have values and morality. That's what your metal is about. And water. Water, I would say your superpower is the ability for depth, for knowledge, for intelligence, the ability to just know things, okay? Or have an eagerness to learn in life. So those are the superpowers of all of these elements ingrained within you. Like I said, you will see them come out at different periods in your life. You have all of these traits. Some may be stronger than others, and that's normal, but you will see each of the elements within your personality, within your ingrained value system, belief structure, all that kind of thing. But there is so if you look at the regular 5-element phase theory here, each element nourishes the one after it. So fire nourishes earth, nourishes metal, metal nourishes water, water nourishes wood. This is like the cycle of life. You could look at it as pre-birth, sprouting into birth, vitality in life, then coming back into ourselves, into death, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot of symbolism here. But there's also something called a controlling cycle, where each element controls one another. Now, you could be saying control, that sounds kind of negative, but control can be a healthy thing, okay? In that it keeps all of the elements in check, okay? It works, it's like yin-yang, an extension of yin-yang. All of the elements work with one another to keep you best in balance. So for example, let's see, wood controls earth, earth controls water. So you could see the earth soaks up the water, water puts out fire so it doesn't get out of control. Fire can melt metal, and metal can chop wood. If you think of like a metal axe chopping wood, okay? This is a very horrible star that I just drew, but you get the idea, right? You get the idea. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful. So all of them control each other. The thing is that we can become quite out of balance due to a number of factors, and these are some of the factors in life. Let's see, we have trauma, we have injury, we have a poor diet, poor sleep or lack of sleep, the inability, like impulse control in life, outside factors, social media, I'm going to throw that in there too, like mental state. There's a lot of things that can throw off our rhythm, throw off our elemental rhythm in life. And a lot of these are common sense. How you're taking care of yourself, right? Are you managing your emotions in a proper way? Are you nurturing and doing self-care for yourself? And that's where we can kind of get stuck in one of these guys. So each of the elements also has an emotion associated with it. So wood corresponds to the emotion of anger, fire to the emotion of joy, but it can also be like mania, manic on the high end of it. Earth to worry, metal corresponds to grief, and water to fear. So sometimes we get attached or we get stuck in one of these emotions. For example, a lot of people right now are stuck in anger and stuck in fear. So in a way, they're stuck in their wood and they're stuck in their water. And you gotta wonder why? What's going on here? What's going on here, right? Maybe they're stuck in their wood because something is metal, the ability to let go, or the ability, something is deficient in one of these other elements, you know, or they're stuck in fear where, you know, earth, they're overthinking, they're worrying and starting to, you know, the earth is kind of absorbing everything and taking over. So All of these can be in excess or deficiency. So all of the elements are also tied to an organ system in your body. For example, wood tied to the liver and the gallbladder. So the ability to detoxify. If something is out of balance with wood, or you have excess anger where it's taking over maybe the earth, right? The earth, which is the mediator, the grounded caretaker, very nurturing element. If there's something in excess or out of balance with wood, it can start to really affect the earth or cause earth to be deficient, where now your earth has the inability, because it's tied to the stomach and the spleen, to not only digest properly physically, but also on an emotional level, where you can't digest your thoughts, or you start overthinking and worrying, which can thus affect either your metal and the ability to let go, because metal is associated with the lungs and the large intestine. Large intestine, for example, letting go of toxins in your life. Lungs, the ability to take in fresh, new air, clean air, inspiration. So if something's out of balance here, you can't take in anything new. You have trouble letting go. It's going to start to affect your metal. Or earth, which kind of soaks up the water, absorbs the water. If you're sitting in states of worry, or you can't digest those thoughts and you're ruminating, it's going to lead to maybe chronic fear and anxiety in your life, right? And then water puts out fire. And if there's not enough water, or your kidneys, urinary bladder, you have a deficiency there in elemental perspective, then you have the inability to put out the fire, and the fire just runs rampant, meaning you may have very scattered energy, manic energy, which is like joy gone wild, the inability to have boundaries, perhaps, non-committal, all kinds of things where you're just kind of flying all over the place if you think of fire, right? Scattered energy. And if your fire is out of balance, it can affect your metal. I mean, fire melts metal, I guess you could say, and it all affects one another. If your metal is out of balance, then it's going to affect your wood, because metal chops wood, right? The axe chopping wood, and metal is about control, dignity, poise, grace, and if you don't have that, then there's going to be no grace. There's going to be just anger running rampant. So this is the point. We are a fine, delicate balance of all of these guys. Okay, so when you're like, what's my element type? Yes, we do have a tendency to one or two constitutional element types, but we have all of the elements within us. Some may be stronger than others, but really the goal is to have as much of a balance as we can. And just because you're a certain personality type doesn't mean that you can't find balance within you. Because like I said, think of the superpowers of each of these, okay? The leadership, the vision, the growth, the ability to have joy in your life and have an open heart, the ability to be grounded and nurturing, not only to self, but to other people, the ability to have poise and grace and self-respect, okay? Have some purpose in your life, and the ability to have some depth, okay? To question things, to have knowledge, intelligence. These are all the superpowers that we should focus on balancing in our lives. These are like the 5 virtues, right? Instead of anger, we have compassion, okay? Pacifies anger. So think of those. And if you're finding that you're attaching to one of the more toxic or negative traits or sides, or things feel out of balance, just look at in your life, take inventory of maybe things like sleep, your diet, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Are you in a toxic relationship? Do you need to set boundaries with people? Are you, non-committal? Do you have some kind of trauma or past experience that is causing you to kind of repeat these cycles or repeat these patterns. If you have a chronic fear, try to see where that stems from. Does it stem from a past occurrence? Does it stem from you're on social media all the time or watching the news 24/7? So sometimes these are like little fixes. Are you abusing alcohol or drugs? All of these things can affect us to a certain degree. So anyway, that is just kind of an overall depiction of how our elements kind of fight against each other sometimes, or they're butting heads, or how they all work together. And if one is thrown off, then it's going to throw kind of everything else off over time. Maybe not immediately, but you will see. And if you find that you're stuck in one of these things or one of these emotions, take a look at that. Okay, how can I balance that out? You know, if I'm always angry, how can I pacify that to some degree? Do I need to kind of boost my mettle? Like, what am I doing? Where are my values? Okay, am I living for values of other people, or what I'm reading on the news, or what are my own belief systems? What are my own values? Okay, where is my own self-worth and self-dignity? That kind of stuff I want you to take a look at. Anyway, so I hope you found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments below. Like I said, I'm going to put a bunch of links to a bunch of other 5-element videos. There's also the ebook I put out, 5-element quick ebook guide, and you know, make sure you download that as well. That gives you a nice summary of each element type, good explanation how to support each type, if maybe you feel like you're deficient in certain areas, and how it all works together. So anyway, hope you have a great day. Make sure you hit that like button, share it, subscribe. I really appreciate you supporting this channel. Let's help make it grow. And until next time, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.